This is a time for Canadians to put us in the forefront and to protest about Canadian issues like mass immigration.
An Ontario father is taking a brave stance against unchecked mass immigration, prioritizing Canadians as record high immigration strains housing, healthcare, and social systems, increasing fraud, crime, and exploitation that put Canadians at risk, from undermining job opportunities to eroding community safety and cultural cohesion. Joe Anajar has started the Canada First movement and has taken to social media to plan multiple rallies throughout Toronto, the next of which is scheduled for September 13th at Christie Pitts Park in Toronto.
दोस्तों अगर आप जीटीए में रहते हो तो टोरंटो डाउनटाउन के इस एरिया में 13 सितंबर को जाना अवॉइड करना क्योंकि अब
Of course, this hasn't come without pushback from the so-called diversity and inclusivity lovers like Toronto City Councillor Diane Sachs, who released an official statement calling this a hate demonstration and tattling on it to the Toronto police. NDP MP Charlie Angus, self-styled as the Resistance, has labeled Canadians worried about the nation's direction as race haters, championing Canada's diversity and inclusion legacy, yet seemingly ignoring how liberal policies like the fraud-riddled, mismanaged temporary foreign worker program exploit and marginalize vulnerable Canadians.
When I talk to businesses around the country, particularly in Quebec, but elsewhere across the country, their number one issue is tariffs, and their number two issue is access to temporary foreign workers. Okay?
Joining me now to discuss all of this is Canada First founder Joe Anajar to hear what he has to say about it. Check it out.
Recently, as of last year, I started a movement called Canada First. And it was about bringing Canadians together to start putting Canadians and Canada at the forefront. I feel like we've been kind of put, to the side, and with the influx of immigrants that have come to our country since COVID, we Canadian citizens seem to be on the back burner. And this is our country, and it's time for real Canadian patriots to rise up. So this is why the movement has come about. And this would be my fourth event that will be happening here on September 13th. It's going to be at Christie Pitts Park in Toronto on Saturday, September 13th. I expect a great showing. I have speakers lined up from city councillors to patriots to just people who want to get the message out and, let people know that it's okay to speak about this situation, to speak on the mass immigration that's happened to our country. And at the end of the day, to be a patriot for your country, to want to stand up for your country, because a lot of people, they veer away from this topic, right? It's controversial, but it shouldn't be. If you look around the world, you see patriots rising up for their nations, for their history, for their culture, for their identity. We're next. We're the ones that need to fill the shoes that has been ripping across Europe. We're in the batter's box, and on September 13th, the Patriots will rise.
Joe contends that this follows years of Canadians witnessing the erosion of their history, coupled with the spread of divisive proxy culture wars spilling out onto our streets.
We are the people who have not only got along with the French, but have come together to make this great country. But now what we're doing now is it's like we're losing everything that our forefathers fought for, everything people have built over time. You see, with like our heritage, our statues being torn down, things like this, our anthem being changed, our passport being changed, our entire identity and culture is being erased. And it makes, we got people on the left making us feel guilty for being a patriot, for wanting the best for our country, to wanting to keep our identity and culture alive. And this is what the Canada First movement is about. It's about restoring the greatness of this country and bringing our patriots together. Because when we're all together, you've seen what we've done in the past. And this is why I want to try to bring that fire, that passion again back to the streets of Toronto. In my opinion, it's long overdue. We have not done anything, and we allow protests from other countries every single weekend rip through our streets, not only in Toronto, but Ottawa, Montreal, Vancouver. It has to stop. This is a time for Canadians to put us in the forefront and to protest about Canadian issues like mass immigration.
Speaking specifically about Sachs and Angus, Joe says their dismissive rhetoric toward concerned Canadians only deepens the divide, ignoring the real issues of cultural erosion and economic exploitation.
First off, I mean, these people, if you look at their track record and you look at what they've done over time in their political careers, everything has been a detriment to Canada. It hasn't helped Canada. It hasn't been a positive thing to society. And I mean, we're talking about Diane Sachs, who's been with the Green Party, who, I mean, let's be real here, they're irrelevant. And then you got Charlie Angus, who has been a long life disturber, who just likes to stir the pot. You got him, supporting Nazis in Ukraine. You got him doing all the things that are against Canadians and against our nation. And it's just the left doesn't seem to get what we're doing. They love to throw around the racist word. Everything is racist. Everything is this and that. They don't take 2 minutes to really come and talk to me to say, what is your events about? What is the goal? They don't do that. They just label, just like the mainstream media did with us at the convoy. It's just on repeat, right? So at the end of the day, I've learned to just, these guys are lost causes. There's no talking to them. All right. They've been brainwashed to the point where they're so virtuous to death. They would rather stand up for another country than their own. And I'm done with that. They have no place, like people like Charlie Angus and people like Diane Sachs. They have no place in government. They have no place making decisions for Canadians because clearly they're against us.
But not all politicians are the same, and Joe says there are a few who have reached out to discuss this issue and partake in his event.
Let's say just politician who reached out to me, and God bless her heart, Lisa Robinson, city councillor. She'll be speaking at the rally. I have a few other patriots who really want to express the importance behind this topic and why we need to bring this to everyone's attention. Every day, someone seems to be wanting to get behind me, and I'm still waiting for, other creators and YouTubers in the space to get behind this. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. I'm also waiting for conservatives to step up. I mean, are you guys not conservative? You guys are all prancing around talking about immigration. If there was ever an event for you to show up at, this on September 13th would be the one. That's Pierre Poilievre. That's any Conservative Party representative. I invite you to stand with us, stand with Canadian patriots who want the same thing for our country.
On the topic of location, Joe says he chose Christie Pitts Park not because of historical references, like the 1933 riot that exposed deep ethnic tensions, but because it's a vibrant, accessible public space where voices can converge to openly discuss Canada's future without the shadow of past conflicts.
I'll be honest with you, Tamara. I didn't even know about what happened at Christie Pitts. I had no idea. People ask me, why did you pick Christie Pitts? I'll be honest, it was a beautiful park. It's accessible by train. People can get there without worrying about parking. That was my genuine choice. Why? And then people, all of a sudden I start seeing on Facebook saying, oh, let's bring our bats and stuff like this. And I'm like, okay, typical left-wing stuff. They're a little bit wacky. But and that's the difference between us and them. We are peaceful. We stand united. We stand on guard. We hold that line. These guys, as you saw in Australia, look, these are antagonizers. These are people who try to infiltrate movements. I'm not new. I've been around. I've seen these guys. I know them. I can spot them from 100 miles away. And I just want people to know that to expect this. Expect it, because this isn't a small gathering, guys. This will be the biggest event Toronto has seen since before COVID. I mark my words on this. The time for action is long overdue. We do talk a lot about these issues online, on X, on Instagram, and we're also brave to talk about it online. It's time to bring that message, that passion, that fire onto the streets, because if you look across the Western world, they are making a massive impact. You had Italy, Spain, Poland, England's been on a tear. And then you got Tommy Robinson's march the same day as ours, guys. They expect to have 1 million people there. The West is waking up. So I beg you guys, if you have the time on September the 13th, come stand with Canadian patriots who love this country. This is a family-friendly event. We will be well protected. We will stand by each other and we will protect our own. We will not back down. But this is something we all need to take the time to do, guys. And I couldn't be any more genuine. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this. I only started this about a month ago on my own. And with the help of everybody, this could be a magical, historic moment, guys. I'm not trying to do what we did at the convoy. That will never happen again. But it doesn't mean we can't rise again. And that's what we will do on September 13th. May the Patriots rise.
To see all of our immigration coverage and support our journalism on this file, please go to yournewcanada.com. That's yournewcanada.com.